Hello everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War as, of course, the British, and as a reminder, using the Darth mod. We are coming from the following turn from where we left off. This is now turn 33 in the campaign, and I think we're doing very well for that. Just as a preface, thank you very much for everyone who has been watching this continually. It's very great to see you all here. I hope you have been enjoying it. And as a small apology in advance, perhaps, for this video, I apologise if you can hear any background noise. Please do let me know. There is a rather cheeky little bunny rabbit in with me who knows it's very close to feeding time. Lord Treasurer Blinky knows exactly where the money needs to be spent, and it's on her food right now. But all that aside, thank you for understanding. Let's get into the game. We have a unit recruited of dragoons in England, and that is going to fill up the rest of our army, which is sitting in this particular navy at the moment. However, we are waiting for 3 more units of British Royal Marines, very new units for us, brand spanking new units. We can only have 3 in the total campaign, which is absolutely fine. There are going to be some more elite units for our invasion of Denmark, which we do want to get onto today. That is only going to take one more turn to get that unit coming through, though. We do have some technological advances. We have both top gallants, increasing our campaign movement and battle movement speed for our ships, and we have joint stock companies, increasing our wealth per turn by 10. There's lots of T's in all of our regions at once, which is excellent, and reduces the cost of all industrial buildings and enables us to upgrade to tier 3 banking houses. We're also going to get plateways as well, naturally, which will increase our income from mines. Do we want to go to mass production for reduced recruitment costs? Possibly. We could also go for the steam engine, and that might not be a bad idea at all, because that will let us get the next tier of powered factory going through, and that will also increase the wealth from all industrial buildings, as well as unlock the steam dry dock. So I think that's very important to go for as Britain. That is instead of fire and advance, which is not, I don't really use that myself. So we're going to go for... I want to go for field ambulances for increased replenishment. It's going to take 8 turns with our Salamanca base university. What's about this? It's 8 turns from Oxford as well, so it doesn't make any difference there. Won't go for plateways just yet. We'll go straight for field ambulances because I absolutely love field ambulances. We're also going to get a Court of Justice up now to unlock the next tier of civil technologies because we're lacking on those a tad. We probably want... the metric system for even more technological research rate there. So, what is this trait? We also have Edward Cartwright, a gentleman, more influence and research for civil technologies, and that is in Salamanca over here. That's absolutely fine. What are we going to spend our money on today then? I think we need to start upgrading these banking houses, really. Let's come over to one then. Let's go to York and get that for 5.4 thousand money there, which will take 9 turns to do so. So it is an investment, but we should start seeing some good returns on that fairly soon. I'm going to move Michael Stowe up to Pamplona, I think. That will take a couple turns, and we can stay stationary, garrisoning in with Wellesley over here, who does need to replenish a good amount of units after beating back Napoleon in the previous video. That's absolutely fine there. Do we want to do anything with Nelson? Not a great amount of trade route raid value there. Let's see, it's not really going to change across the board here. Interesting that Portugal's thinking about mobilising an army somewhere. I wonder if they're going to try and go for Parma for us, which will be a problem. We'll have to go for Portugal ourselves if that is indeed the case. I think what we do is bring Nelson towards these straits over here, have a look at these trade nodes over here. We can actually see this sugar node, and the tea node over here is free. That is very interesting. I would still like the ivory to be free. We are very soon to declare war on Denmark, which is another reason for keeping Nelson in this position over here, because I'm pretty sure we can take that on. It is largely frigates and of course merchantmen over here, so it should be quite easy for our ships of the line, our heavy ships to take on there and free that up for some trade of our own. Our income is sitting at 9.7 thousand, which is very, very high. We are at standard tax rates. We're not going to increase or reduce that at the moment. It's absolutely fine. Don't need to change that around. Government popularity, because we haven't actually looked at this, is absolutely fine. But we do have an election in 2 turns, which is very interesting indeed. But otherwise, our ministers are fairly decent. Let's have a look at our prestige, though. We are leading, but that is largely due to our massive 480 points in naval power. Interestingly, Austria has actually has the leading army behind Napoleon. Of course, Napoleon will always have that massive army advantage until we destroy him. So that's could be a bother, depending on whether Austria actually decides to go for some of our victory locations. We are lagging behind a tiny bit on the economic side, behind Prussia, which is very interesting, as well as Enlightenment, which is, of course, technological research and such, which is very, very interesting. Let's see if Prussia can help us out with anything. That's the wrong button there. Let's go to technological advance. Well, they only really have foreign advance ahead of us. So I wonder if that's simply because they have more schools. I don't know of any particular regions they have outside of their capital which holds a school. So that's very interesting. But I'm not going to trade anything for foreign advance. It's not entirely worth it for my liking. Should we see where Austria is? Carronade is also pretty damn decent. I do like using carronade frigates. Maybe we can trade that for top gallants. And they've said yes. That's very nice indeed. We now have access to carronade frigates. What about the Ottoman Empire? Not particularly known for their advancement, but yeah, they still have foreign advance, not particularly lagging too far behind. And same with Russia there. So there's not much else we can do there, I don't think. Nothing we can really do for a bit of income. So we're just going to pop on over to the next turn and start transporting our troops over to Denmark. I believe we have a fleet already over here. We certainly do. Let's use that to scout out to the land around Copenhagen. And they do, of course, have basically 2 full stacks, the equivalent here, just split a tad over here. So that's going to make us think about how we approach that. We might want to very sneakily land on Denmark first and make sure we're not at war with the enemy when we do land, and then declare war by first sieging down Copenhagen, so that should not be able to reinforce an army attacking. This general over here certainly didn't stumble over the name there at all. So let's press the end turn button and get on over to that, shall we? We also have a new gentleman in Navarre, which is very, very good. What does he help with? Industrial technology is very useful indeed. So that's not a problem at all. We'll get him into researching over there, of course. Why is he not moving? Let's just pull him manually over there and try not to forget about him. We have some construction. We have a magistrate in Gibraltar. Excellent stuff. How's the infrastructure looking? Waiting for metalled roads. What are we waiting for? The rest of our land over here. I think it's just the same. We can see the cobble roads up across there. Might want to help out this secret society so we can get a greater chance of more spies being recruited, and we do have our recruitment over in England as well. So let's come back over here, and we're also going to upgrade our banking house over here. They will give a flat 200 increase to wealth, 24 per turn in that region, and +2 in all of our regions. That is a massive, massive money maker indeed. Let's take this army then, move on over, and we shall just arrange that. All embarked. Let's move over, shall we? Have had to split our fleet in 2. That's absolutely fine. And what we'll do is we will move to this position, disembark. We have to request military access. That's very interesting indeed. Of course we do. Of course we do. Let's go to Denmark and Norway. We shall request some access, shall we? Very, very sneakily indeed. For 10 turns there will do. Make it mutual. Offer that. So they've had to say no. That's absolutely fine. If we offer, let's say, indefinite and ask for 5, and then offer national census. What about that? They've said yes. Excellent stuff. So let's pop on over there, and we can betray them over the next turn. We have to wait another turn simply because we're not disembarking at a port, so that does take up all of our army's movement range. So, with that being said, let's also come down with Nelson. Get ready to just double check to see what they have in this fleet. Still just the same. Rather outnumbered we are, but we do have the hit points and cannons to fight back over there, should that be the case. So, once again, not much else we can do. We do still have a little bit of money to spend. How are we looking with happiness in Madrid? Let's take out our forces. Still need to wait a couple turns for our lower orders to become a little happier. So, what else do we fancy doing? Might want to upgrade some income buildings over here. Let's upgrade to the Grand Opera House in London. That'll take 7 turns, that's absolutely fine. Let's move over to the next turn. Well, election results. Looks like no one's really changed about from what I can see. We're still very good high-level lords and ministers. William Pitt reducing the diplomatic relations with everyone else by a tad, but nothing that will hurt us too much. We also have a new general available in Brent Spencer. We can have a look at his traits. The Kingdom of Bavaria has also been destroyed by Prussia by the looks of it. It was very interesting. They pushed from Kassel into Munich. Very interesting indeed that they've bypassed Dresden and Stuttgart. So George Elphinstone also has extra repair rate during battles, which is excellent there. So if he does suffer fires and such, he won't be out of action for quite so long. Let's move over here. And what we're going to do is before we forget, we're going to spend some more money because our income's very, very nice indeed. We have 10,000 in the pot already. So, might want to get some more metalled roads up. So we do have that income per turn. Is there anything? I think tax rate actually is also a decent one to look at. Let's go to where are we looking? What's going to produce the most tax? Madrid, of course. Let's go for 3,000 here. A new upgrade there. We'll go for, actually looks like Barcelona's doing quite well on the tax. So let's go for a course of justice there as well. How about Gibraltar? Not a lot, and that's not really going to change, unfortunately. Perhaps then, looking at our trade ports, we might want to increase that so we get more capacity and wealth per turn in the regions. Do we have anything else a little more minor to upgrade? Not exactly. Possibly want to upgrade our dry dock over here. That might not be a bad idea at all. Let's do that for greater recruitment capacity then. And we're going to siege down Denmark. Let's go straight on top of that. Declare war very nicely indeed. They do have the allies of Mecklenburg and Strelitz. So we're going to call all of our allies in to help there. Let's see what happens with that. Yeah, so Mecklenburg's joined them. They're also we're being joined by Austria and Russia. That's absolutely fine. Going to continue the siege there, and what we're going to do is attack this army here. And that is, yeah, because we have sieged down Copenhagen itself, we've blocked off the majority of enemy reinforcements. So we do have the equivalent of a single full stack here, 20 complete units there. That's absolutely fine. Enemy does once again have the cannon advantage there, which is absolutely fine. We're very used to dealing with that. Very interesting cavalry. They have some good heavy cavalry here and the Holstein cavalry regiments. Some good morale and melee attack there. They are very well chevroned up. They do have some mounted Jaegers. I imagine they will function the same as Chasseurs Cheval. That's absolutely fine. They do have some light hussars as well. So we're going to want to try and avoid direct cavalry engagements, I think. But that's about it otherwise. How do we compare against their standard infantry, who are also rather chevroned up? Accuracy of 36 and a morale of 8 compared to our accuracy of 38 and morale of 7 there. So that's rather interesting. Quite an even matchup. This is not going to be an easy infantry to infantry fight. Well, we started firing some cannon fire into the enemy's ranks. We are just on the edge of our cannon's range here, as you can see denoted by this red line over here. Trying to guess on this rather large units of line infantry coming in over there. Spread out our formation to try and set a trap within the tree lines over here. We are completely hidden here and over here as well. So that's absolutely fine there, so long as the enemy does come into our firing lines, of course. A tad spread out on our core over here to try and make use of this wall as cover and fire into the trees over here. We're a little bit messed up and jumbled up over here. Might want to move and remove this cover, try and hop over into the tree cover might be an idea actually, and then we can fall back into our own firing lines. And that's the sort of plan we have moving up into this tree line with the unit of King's German Legion. Lost the banner unfortunately for that for some reason. That's to poke ahead, try and force the enemy into our position, then we can do a fullback order into our own firing lines. We are going to try and hit them hard with some skirmishers in this tree line over here. Push on over, hit the mounted Jaegers at least, and tempt them into a massive supporting firing line from some King's German and Standard Fusiliers backed up behind on this small ridge to fire over our men there. We are going to plug a gap over here with some Royal Fusiliers as well. We're going to bring up a couple units of light cavalry as well to support if need be. Charge through the gap perhaps and support any infantry who needs it. So it looks like our King's German Legion are firing. You can see it's enemies through the trees there. Very nice angle on fire there. Let's see if they do start to move in though. Do have a few kills on some, would appear some standard line infantry here and some line infantry there. Let's see, obviously of course they'll be in range. Are they going to set up for it? They do still have our flank over here to contend with. We might want to pull back a tad so we can start firing them early. Just micro that a tad. That will mess with the hill advantage there a tad. But not to worry too much. We're getting a massive morale penalty here, so let's try and strengthen that. We have started to rout some cannons with some counter battery over here. Reduce them down to 12 men and 1 cannon on this squad. That will return. And 3 cannons and 36 men in this squad. That's excellent. They've lost a tiny bit of horse artillery here as well. But we need to redirect onto this massive blob because that is now threatening. See if they will move into our men over here. Looks like under small arms fire. Don't think that's quite true, but not to worry. Let's fall back down here, double time that so we don't take too many shots to the rear. And we'll cover ourselves with some cannon fire like so. Hopefully the enemy does decide to chase down the hill here and come into our firing line as we said, like so. Are we about set up over here? We're not quite in range, that's absolutely fine. What we're going to do with that then is just push a little harder, take some moderate cover from being soft sat behind the wall over here, and that will give us the hill advantage to fire over our men once again over here. Let's double time both groups there, and we are supporting once again from this line. Let's take this minor ridge over here with our Royal Fusiliers. It looks like the enemy is not taking the base over here, unfortunately, so we're going to press that once again. We are winded, unfortunately, with that group. And this particular flank is completely wasted at the moment with this trap, which is a shame. We might, in that case, how's the enemy looking? Their reinforcements have come in, by the way. They came in from this flank over here. Why are we taking morale shocks? It's very interesting there. Not to worry, though. Enemy's taking heavy losses over here. Hidden by the smoke of their fire, of course. They do have some tree line cover, of course, as well, which is a shame. I'm not quite fine with this group, not to worry. What we can do is push in with our Royal Fusiliers a little harder, across that column there, and really push in over here for that group. Take them out one piece at a time, of course. Let's try and think about pushing in a little harder over here. Let's move over very close to the enemy. Do we want to take this shrub line? Our light foot can hide in that if the enemy does not pay attention to us. And of course we do want to back up with some line infantry, 4 squares and firepower. We'll come up with our cavalry as well. Standard tactics, very, very standard tactics. Let's plug this gap then with our reserve Fusiliers over here, reserve Royal Fusiliers if I may say so. A reminder of that. So let's push up very aggressively then, and we are going to have to abandon our trap over here as we rouse off this unit. They will return though without being chased. Now I don't want to have a repeat of previous battles where we have run out of ammunition, of course, before completely removing the enemy. We have some sort of mines here, do we? There appears to be. It's very interesting. The red patch over here indicates the enemy has some sort of defensive equipment there. I forget whether mines are actually damaging for this game, or if they're just a slow movement speed malice. Completely remove the cannons from this, which means we're not actually counter-battering as we'd like. So let's fire on the cavalry regiment if possible. Going to want to back up our light units soon though. So how are they doing? Still have a fair bit of ammo. Firing uphill a tad here. Do have some tree line cover. Enemy is very tired and routing once again, but our cannons aren't doing as we have asked. Once again, is this going to be a problem which plagues us once again? As far as these Jaegers, it looks like the enemy is going to let us take this shrub line. That will be firing into buildings and heavier trees there. What's the enemy firing at here? Some King's German. Okay, we need to plug this gap as quickly as possible. Let's bring in our main corps. Move up over here. It looks like we are encouraged though. It says we're winning slightly. Unfortunately, can't measure the morale at a glance here, so we're going to have to use the text card over here. Looks like we're doing okay. I'm looking at the enemy's morale, doing fine, but we are going to have to push up with our line infantry, unfortunately. So we're going to have to come around in this direction. We might want to pull back actually with our light foot and move in completely with line infantry, some more King's German Legion. We are now firing out onto this unit of Jaegers, which is excellent. They've taken a good amount of losses already. We are firing with both units of light infantry here, so we're going to pick those off fairly easily before they manage to group up and make a good formation. Just climbing a small ridge line over here with our Royal Fusiliers and such. Why don't we push a tad harder there so we can fire over the brow of the hill here. Double time that. Back up here as a small reserve because we are going to push in a little harder with this group. Actually, what we want to do is thick column and line here. Line out quite stretched there. And use the tree support over here. We are going to be right in the enemy's faces here. But they are very tired. They have taken losses, so we can hammer them there. Where is that King's German Legion? It's just here, and they have taken a melee charge here, which is very interesting. We do have cavalry to support, so let's move in there and do a counter charge into the flank there. The enemy is thinking of bringing in their own cavalry here. We need to watch out for that. And they are looking at flanking us over here. Looks like we're dealing with that. Let's just double check this cavalry charge. Absolutely fine. So let's reposition here. Double time that. Just want to watch that we need to square over here, do we? Where are they going? Where are they going? Looks like we might rout them off if they keep doing that before they make contact. We've made a total rout over here, which is excellent. Have some cavalry coming in to finish that off. Let's support. How's the cavalry over here? Do we need to square up? I don't think we do. It's going to be very limp charge, and they are routing, which is excellent to see. Oh, yeah, very, very limp Danish charge there. Excellent. They did actually decide to square up over here. Lost that momentum. We're running riot with our cavalry through the enemy's core there, which is excellent. Let's see what we can do with a support from this side with our cavalry. We're going to be blocked a tad by the buildings and such, but not to worry. I think if we take advantage of the tired and demoralised units over here, we're going to be absolutely fine. Need to bring up our own general, so Thomas More, to support our centre, I think. And what we're going to do with our left flank is push the momentum. Support here, turn round here, take the hill and tree line support with Royal Fusiliers. Once again, a minor line over here. Where did that light infantry go? It is over here. We're going to take this hill and support from the flank there. How are we doing on the core over here? Not too bad. Are we going to take a charge? I think we might just be about to take a charge here. Let's square this up so we are braced at least. Making some minor contact with our light infantry, so I'm just going to pull back here. This is rather messy, but the enemy cavalry is routing, so that's absolutely fine. We may just have a minor rout over here. Our men are running somewhere. Is this the cavalry? We've completely forgotten about and did not see this massive amount of spikes over here. So that is a massive error we've made there. Do have to own up to that. Did not scout that out ahead. Yeah, that's rather unfortunate, but they will survive for a future battle. How are we looking? Need to stop squaring here. We need to double time this pull out here. And we can move in here, I think. This unit is very well moraled up. What we need to do here is push up, I think, with this unit to support. Are we in range here? We certainly are, getting a good fire by rank out. Excellent, firing downhill here as well, which is excellent, getting a lot of kills onto the Danish line infantry. Well, we did get the designation of a heroic victory there, despite actually slightly outnumbering the enemy. We have reduced them down to 731 men remaining after that battle, so they will still have a couple units left on the strategic map to help themselves out there. We did lose quite a few people in our cavalry squadrons and such. They have made themselves rather chevroned up, but I think as they replenish, they'll lose 1 or 2 chevrons on this particular unit here, which is rather unfortunate. But a good first maiden battle for this army over here, which is excellent to see. We do have some chevrons across the board there. So let's see how that looks on the strategic map. Much, much better there. Much, much better indeed. Do we have the movement to finish them off? We certainly do. Do we want to... We're going to have to try and do that, of course. So let's go for that. And we are going to auto-resolve that. Or are we? Because we're going to get losses taken from this army as well. We are going to have to very quickly fight this, I think. And with that being done, that's at least a minor stack out of the way there. We do have an attacking general trait for Alexander Abercrombie there, which is interesting because he's the reinforcing general there. And for John Moore, we have Great General. Let's have a look, see what that might actually do. +3 to command in land battles. That's very, very nice indeed. We do have a lot of replenishment to be doing now. But what we should do is, I think, take Denmark immediately. So very similar, but they do have some good guard units by the looks of it. Some limited Norwegian Fusiliers do have some very good accuracy, some standard morale. Luckily they're not chevroned up to boost that, but should be fairly similar to the previous battle where they do have some good skirmish infantry over here as well actually. Once again some mounted Jaegers. But this will be the domination of Denmark. Well, on our advance, using our maneuverability of the horse artillery over here, because we do need to get into range, the enemy is giving us some rather heavy counter battery of their own. They are 6-pounders, which does suggest that we're also in range, but we're getting quite the morale loss. Already taken out a couple of our own cannons here. We are going to unlimber immediately, take up quite a strong central position here with some good elite units in the centre here, with the usual light backed up by standard infantry behind. On the flanks, going to go for quite a hefty flank on the right side. Enemy does appear to have a fewer concentration of troops over here, so that's absolutely fine. We're not necessarily planning to charge right into the enemy, of course, with this corps. It is mostly to protect our cannons, which are losing out here and not unlimbering how we want at all. Okay, looks like they are just turning there. Are they? No. Okay, we're going to be struggling with this. We're going to be struggling with this approach. Okay, what we need to do is adapt our plans because the enemy does have a massive amount of cannon over here. Just ignore it, really. Just ignore it. Just shift on over to a flank like so. Pull the enemy away with that. And just concentrate a little harder over here, I think, is going to be the plan. Where is our general? He's over here. We're going to pull him over here out of the direct sight of the cannons. We might want to... We're really struggling with these cannons. I've never had this problem before. Interesting. New problems every day, of course. We're going to just move over here. Have very few cannons left, actually. Might not be able to man all of our cannons with the men lost there. Very interesting indeed. The enemy is pushing up to take this tree line over here. We might want to tempt them out with our cavalry to begin with. They are already tired actually. They're the Norwegian Fusiliers, so they're actually the more elite units over here. You can tell because of their lovely hats they use. Very similar to our own guards. Where are they? There's one of these units you can see, very, very similar there. Gotta love the fashion. It's all about the fashion in the Red Coast Army. Okay, so the enemy has pushed hard into this tree line over here to reinforce themselves, so we're going to try and stay out of their firing line with our mainline foot infantry here and try and push hard onto the flank with our skirmishers on the edge of their range. See how the enemy does manoeuvre over here. They are repositioning, of course. We might have to double time this. This push, realign ourselves and push on over a little harder on this flank here. That can take some time. We're going to have to double time this though because the enemy will now be in range quite heftily there, which is rather a shame that we can't put our plans to exact use there. We're going to have to reposition then. See, that's probably a tad messy. Just bring them back a tad. We will be firing out, taking the enemy fire first unfortunately. But we're going to get a solid fire by rank count to begin with, already dipping the enemy morale. That is the standard infantry there. Norwegian infantry is still faffing about. Wavering and tired already is excellent there. Blinded by our smoke, absolutely. We are now firing out with the increased accuracy of our rifled skirmishers. And that is excellent. So they're already tired. We might want to run them down as quickly as possible with our cavalry because they will come back to bite us in the arse. Enemy cannon is still giving us some problems over here. So the plan was to push up into this tree line with our own skirmishers and then maybe fall back to have the hill advantage over here. But I think really the aim of the game is push, 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 push and try and take this wall cover here, but the mouse is being, there we go, rather unsteady. That would look strange, but they will take up that position. So we're going to push onto the tree line as well as the hill there. Are we getting any cannon fire out of our own here? Looks like they are. Brilliant. We're going to get a limp charge onto the Norwegian Fusiliers as they do a slight recover, but they do not have a square formation up and going, which is brilliant. So we're going to push in a little bit more with our skirmishers to help on that flank. We do want to push in more directly with this unit then, take the trees here, so we do have units in there to hold position. Going to rearrange over here for the oncoming attack there. Might be hindered a little bit by this tiny ridge actually, we'll have to think about that. How's the enemy doing over here? Taking some cannon losses, are they? Because of our own counter battery. Finally, into action there. Let's push up with our cavalry over here. That's not the cavalry, I don't know why I'm selecting them. We do need to push up, however, with this unit either way. Let's take this tree line here and remind ourselves that there are spike traps over here for our cavalry to die to, as they have done previously, of course. Just make a fairly standard line over here. I don't think this particular area is going to be too much bother. We just need to push, 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 as we have already said. Interesting line over here with that wall. I think we're going to be hurting ourselves with that line actually more than we're aiding ourselves. So let's push it a little over here. What we can do is actually push. Come on, we can push for the wall, can we? Please, over here with this unit. Pull back here. Reface so that we can actually get everyone firing here. We're going to be firing as the enemy approaches here on this side through the trees though, so that's reduced usefulness of our fire. What's going on? Have we chased too far? We certainly have, which is not good. There's spike traps. Let's retreat out of that. Rather silly. Massive mistake there. But not the end of the world at all. By no means is that the end of the world. It's just losses we didn't really need to take at all. Massive enemy formation here is going to be moving in. Let's double time this, please. We should be on this side of the wall, guys. Let's just pull back then because we've fluffed that. That's rather different when we gave the order. Are we on the hill here with a good position? We certainly are. That's excellent. So we're going to be rousing off this group of units anyway, despite our mismanagement there, but not a problem. Sure, we'll be fine. Just reloading there. How are we doing on this area? We're pushing in again, yes, silly buggers. Run away. Well, that is the general staff. We do outnumber him. Let's go for that then. Let's go for that. Absolutely. And we are in range with our men over here. Terrible line of sight though. We are getting the kills. Okay, so with that being said, the enemy cavalry is interesting. General is under threat. That's absolutely fine. He's not really under threat, is he? Okay, so the mounted Jaegers are just going to stand and fire rather than charge. That's absolutely fine. We do have the better firepower as a standing infantry over here. Let's protect our general with our cavalry over here before we lose too many of them. And that's what's tempting the enemy to actually fire with their mounted Jaegers. That's excellent. So ripping apart the enemy cavalry there. You can see across the board some wavering units. We are chasing down their general. Let's move away. Let's move this direction, please, into our own fire. So that we're backed up. How's that general looking? 33. Did lose a fair few men ourselves in that little skirmish. The enemy central formation is still rather messy. A lot of mounted Jaegers still about. We need to push once again. Let's try and get over here. Okay, so what is going on here? Should we once again try for this wall? I think we should. Double check that. So that was flickering. It looks okay so far. If that's the case, we should be able to push up over here. There is a little dippage in the hill there. We will be crouching with that wall cover. Let's push up a little bit over here, behind the trees. We'll do the same over here, actually. How's our cavalry on this side? Let's push up a little bit so there's less travel time when we do need them. Enemy fire is skirting over the hill there. This is standard line infantry over here. We are finally taking this wall cover, which is excellent. It does slightly reduce our outgoing firepower, but our staying power is that much better. I do like to make use of this where possible. Okay, so we need to retreat out of here with this unit of cavalry. Push up with our light, I think, completely on the enemy's flank there. And push up a little harder over here because we need to plug this gap really, don't we? Get our cannons onto there. Flank the enemy here. Push up into the tree line once again. And there we go, a heroic victory. Very much heroic, if I may say so myself. Fairly minimal losses on our side with 947 out of the 8.4 thousand men we fielded. We did lose a few men on our general staff as some glancing shells came over. We did lose, of course, a good few men on our cannoneers, but not a problem. The enemy is reduced to 0 men. And we do now have Copenhagen ourselves. If it weren't a victory condition, I would have liked to have turned that into a puppet state, but we also don't have the option for that, unfortunately. We are going to have some minor troubles there. Can we reduce the taxes there to sort them out? That's absolutely fine. We take the bump to our income there. Not a problem. It's gone down quite dramatically, but that's because of the lack of trade agreement with Denmark. And we are just going to nip off, we might not actually nip this in the bud right now. They don't have anywhere to raid as far as I'm aware, so that's absolutely fine. Do have a lot of traits. So John Moore mentioned in dispatches for +1 morale, excellent. John Moore, once again, more morale, more command from Corporal Goldbraid. Excellent trait to have there. John Moore, once again, +2 to morale. And John Moore, once again, +1 to command. He wasn't even in that battle. He was supporting from the distance there, but not to worry. We do have some very good replenishment as well in Denmark. It's very well developed with some metalled roads. That's the difference it makes there. We do also have another university over here and another merchant house. Very, very good to see indeed. Can we put that to use anywhere decent? It's very well developed as well, actually. Grand Battery, or we might as well get conscript infantry tactics going. It is 10 turns to get, +1 to militia morale, reduced recruitment costs of militia, but the greatest benefit is of course getting the military academy going there. And I did say I would double check to see what this new general we're able to recruit is like. It was Brent Spencer. He's +2 to morale already. Excellent. +1. Ooh, okay. Might have to use him later on then. Certainly not a bad general at all. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed the domination of Copenhagen over here. It's excellent. That is once again another victory condition ticked off. If we go to victory conditions, let's go down Denmark over here. We have Britannia, Provence, Hanover, and Parma once again to take for a true victory condition, then of course up to 20 total regions, which we will get with the domination of France of course. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the rather lengthy video today, and I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.